Okay, I'll be honest with you guys. When I first saw the gameplay for PS4's God of War, I didn't really know what to think. Um, on one hand, I could understand the need for change. I mean, I know this might not be the popular opinion, but I really enjoyed God of War Ascension's combat system. I felt like they had finally kind of fully refined, what it was like to play as Kratos in those style of games. I think they had maybe kind of reached the peak of what could be done with Kratos in those kind of games, which probably explains why they decided to change it to this format. Um, but that being said, even as I played through the game, even after I got more used to the controls and got better at it, I don't know. I still am not sold on this being the new format for Kratos and the God of War franchise. It is just something about the over-the-shoulder enemies can kind of still sneak up on your back, and you have to press the down button on the D-pad in order to turn around quickly. That I'm not sold on. I think it's gonna be something that in future games, whenever we get the inevitable sequel, that they're going to have to kind of refine a little bit more, because the big problem with it is that while it mostly works, you still have these enemies that are moving so fast, especially if you were to fight the Valkyries, that you can't keep up, the camera can't keep up, and it just becomes a hectic problem. Which is why about halfway through the game, I just decided to play the game on the easiest difficulty, because I was over it. I was over trying to keep up camera wise. Now this all might sound like I'm bashing the game, and it's definitely what I think is constructive criticism. Like, I think this is something that can work. It just needs to be tweaked. But even though obviously the gameplay is the biggest part of any game, these little hiccups with the revamp to the combat system did not make this game any less enjoyable for me. Granted, it took a little bit more for me to get into this whole like semi-open world God of War, and Kratos being like this heavier, slower, non-jumpy version of himself. Granted, he's older, I get that, but yeah, it's something where this is probably the first time and first game I've played, and I played quite a few so far on the PS4, that the story was so good that I didn't care what, like, I don't like any of the little hiccups and things I didn't really care for in this game didn't matter. I'm like, the story was so good that I was like, I'm gonna see this through no matter how aggravated I get, and I did get aggravated. I'm not really a super big puzzle style player, and this God of War had way more puzzles in it than I would have liked. But I played through all of them because I wanted to see where the story went. I was that invested in the story. Again, Santa Monica Studios, when it comes to scale, I don't think many people are seeing them. Like, I feel like every big studio within the gaming industry has certain things on lock, and Santa Monica, I don't know, it's like, I feel like in a way they've kind of refined some of the violence in the God of War franchise. Like, it's still super violent, but not just gory like it used to be in some of the earlier games. But the spectacle is amazing. Like, here it is, you're a god fighting another god on a reanimated giant's arm. And if you played any of the God of Wars, especially 2 and especially 3, this is nothing new. Like, you think you get tired of seeing these huge scale designs and just sets and landscapes, but never. Like, it's just awe-inspiring every time. And I don't know, like, it kind of makes me think, like, I'm not sure, like, how long or how much longer I will end up playing the God of War franchise, but if they can continue to put out stories like this, I don't know, I could see Kratos going into every realm, to be honest. Like, I understand we're doing like the Norse mythology, and There's, the inevitable showdown with Thor at some point in this franchise, but if they send Kratos to Egypt next, if the story's good, I'll be there. It's just a game where even if you are one of those, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and I don't like how they changed this, and I don't like how they changed that type players, it's still a great game. It's still, I don't know, they offer so much. And I think it's refreshing because you don't get this too often nowadays in games. You get games where they try to cash in on a franchise name, or it's all about the graphics and how things look, and look, we did this and yada yada yada. No, this is a game where the graphics are amazing, the story is well told, pretty well paced, I would say, and just it's a super engaging experience. It was a slow draw in for me. I wasn't super sold on it initially, but I don't know. I can see now, having had the chance to play this, why it's a Game of the Year contender. Santa Monica, bravo for making me want to play Kratos again and making me interested in this franchise once again. I would probably give this 8 out of 10 for sure.